First issue is the Board of Supervisors approved the creation and filling of one full-time deputy sheriff's position.
I'll make the motion. I'll second it.
Motion and second. Thank you. Yes, sir, Sheriff.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. As sheriff, I feel the responsibility, and I feel amiss if we didn't bring this up to the committee and the board in full. With all the talks of the heroin epidemic and all the drug problems in the county, I have one officer assigned to the narcotics division. I do want to point out that this position is not in the budget. It's not a budgeted item. It would have to come from contingency, so I know that's a tough sell. But I just pulled up a quick couple numbers. In 2015, that one officer handled 105 new cases and made 50 arrests. And so far this year, he's handled 37 new cases and made 24 arrests in the short time of 4 or 5 months now. But as you know, in April, we had a situation that becomes more dangerous with the drug situation that's going on. We had one officer that was, when we were trying to make a felony stop, that backed into the car and totaled out a car and hurt the officer. Ended up chasing the water, blew all the way to Junius, and finally got him stopped in a field where he got stuck and hurt another deputy, which time we took 3 different people out of that car. One was wanted in Rochester, one was a missing juvenile from Rochester, and the other one we had charges on and believed he was in possession of a weapon at the time, which he did not have. So, I mean, what I'm looking for is to be able to assign a deputy to the narcotics division instead of asking for an investigator, because I feel that you have a little bit of leeway if we're not happy with what he's doing in that position. We can pull him back out and assign a different deputy. And then if the drug problem becomes lessened, the law go down the road, that deputy, if we don't need him in our code, we can put him back on the road at that time and work. And that way I'm not stuck with a civil service investigator at that time, being stuck with an investigator that maybe we don't really need. I know it's a hard decision to make with spending money that would be not a budgeted item, but that is my reason.
Anybody got questions for the sheriff?
Just a comment, I guess.
Go ahead.
I feel that, and I'm always surprised when I hear we only have one person assigned. Obviously, it's a dangerous job. And the epidemic, heroin epidemic alone, growing like it is, I personally feel that we should definitely approve and create and fill this position.
Well, yeah, I agree the position, should be filled. I'm just wondering if, since we have, expansion of the road patrol, the town police, park police, and state police, whether, we could just use one of the road patrol people, rather than creating a new position, whether you could give up on road patrol.
My problem right now is road patrol is I have two officers, unless I can hire a provisional or something. I have 2 officers that are out on 207C and have been out for over a year. I also have a situation which I was not involved in, where I lost one officer to a full-time position here as security in this building, which never was replaced on the road. I've been temporarily trying to fill assistance with the narco division with part-time officers. The problem I have with that is it works, but there's not a lot of good continuity for safety of that officer that's working full-time, I guess is what I'm looking at.
Anybody else? I believe this is very important with this situation we've got going on with the heroin epidemic we have, and I think it would be wise to have somebody, and it sounds like you thought about it pretty good, and these figures here on this sheet would be the total amount for this officer.
That's for the remainder of this year.
The remainder of this year, okay? But I think it's something that we could possibly use, and I think it's a good idea to look at the situation where you're talking about, where if the first person doesn't really work out, you try somebody else, So, any question? Yes, sir.
I talked to Barry about this too there, and he said we could put 3 or 4 guys on that narco and keep them busy. He said it's just right now they're just getting hammered as people. So Yeah, I think we definitely need this one for sure, and maybe more if they can't get this heroin under control somehow. So,
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Well, I think the sheriff showed good fiscal prudence by requesting the deputy instead of investigator, and I think that if nothing else, it would give you an opportunity to start training some people, because it's about 11 months away when the bells will ring at the casino, and an influx of 10,000 people a day. You're gonna need some folks that know what they're doing when they arrive. It'll be hard to train them when they're here.
Anybody else on the board got questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Issue number 2, Board of Supervisors authorize county manager to sign alternatives to an incarceration grant awarded by the New York State Division of Criminal Justice Service.
Motion.
Second motion. Hi, Dave.
Good evening.
Talk to us.
This is one of 2 annual grants that probation department receives from the Division of Criminal Justice Services. This one pertains to a community service program, which is a state-run alternative to incarceration. It requires signatory to receive the grant money, and while the money is not that great in terms of what they provide to us, the other thing that it does is it allows the jail to classify the inmates the way that they do rather than losing that classification system, which allows us to house a multitude of different persons, ages, sex, rather than just limiting it to certain inmates that we then require perhaps to be housed out. So that's the benefit of having the alternative program.
And this 5843 is the total amount?
Correct.
And anybody got any questions for Dave?
Money we're going to take.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I think these are always good programs to have, alternatives to incarceration. 5843 does not seem like a heck of a lot of money, as you referred to initially, I believe. You know, a great program like this, the grant from New York State Division of Criminal Justice, do they realize that this grant is not a lot of money? And you know, how many people can you really serve under a grant such as this with this amount of money?
Well, we have an employee that is dedicated just specifically to the community service program. We have anywhere between 150 and 200 people sentenced yearly to this program, from anywhere from 30 hours of community service up to 200 hours of community service, all at sites that are within our county. I was just looking back at when the year has gone by, and I think the most that we ever received was probably 9,500. And so it's based on numbers, and the counties that have thousands of community service clients get the money, and those of us that have between 1 to 200 get the rest that's left over. So there are other programs that also fall under the alternatives program that also takes money away from us and from other counties that provide community service. There's pretrial services and other things that are state-run, and grants are available for those. But again, it's based on the numbers that you service in your county. And our numbers, well, 1 to 200 seems like a lot. Different county in Ontario County may have 400 or 500. So it's all proportionate to the numbers that you're working with.
Sounds like the program's a lot cheaper to operate than actual incarceration.
Yes, I mean, you're talking dollars versus hundreds of dollars.
Anybody else got any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you, sir. Item number 3, Board of Supervisors authorize and direct the county manager to sign an intermunicipal agreement with Monroe County for medical examiner services. Got a motion?
Second.
Got a motion and second? Are you speaking on this, county manager, or they, or county attorney, or anybody?
Sure, I can speak on this. You may remember at the turn of the year, we had two instances. We had to renew an expired agreement with Monroe County Medical Examiner who does our autopsies. And what's absent here is a typical autopsy examination is about $2,500, and that price has stayed consistent since the previous contract. So this is remember, one renewable term here. There's this instance and one instance that we've already took legislative action on, and that's with the forensic examination. This is where you check for drugs, ballistics. So this is just tying off a hanging thread, if you will, a loose thread from what the board deliberation was at the turn of the year.
Any questions, comments from the committee? Just the supervisor, got questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Is there any unfinished business that needs to come before the Public Safety Department? If not, we're adjourned.